Whitehart, the Grand Prince of Deer. The Whitehart was the new Grand Prince of all the deer in the forest. He wanted to have a chief associate. Hearing the news, many stags approached him with the request to be his chief associate. Showing his reverence before the Grand Prince, one of the stags said, "My lord, I am the strongest of all the stags in the forest. If you take me to be your chief associate, I will guard you against all predators in the forest." Hearing that, the Grand Prince said, "Sir, I am happy to hear about your concern for my safety. At the same time, I am not bothered about my safety but the safety of the herd that I am looking after. I am sure that you can guard me against any of the predators in the forest. But I am much more scared about a fiercest enemy called man, who lives somewhere in the outskirts of the forest. He has got a dangerous stick with him that can spit fire from a far distance and kill us within seconds. What I am looking for is someone who can advise me against the treacherous ways of that two-legged animal and keep the herd in safety." The next one to approach the Grand Prince was a young stag. Having shown his reverence, the stag said, "My lord, I am the handsomest of all the stags in the herd. If you choose me to be your chief associate, you will never feel any boredom in your life." The Grand Prince replied, "Young sir, I am very pleased to hear about your desire to be my chief associate. But being the handsomest of all the stags in the herd, I think that your presence will be much more appreciated within the herd, especially among does and calves, rather than with me. So keep an eye on little calves and help them not to part away from the safety of the herd." The next one to approach the Grand Prince was the oldest of all the stags in the forest. Bowing before the Grand Prince, he said, "Young Majesty, I was born a few winters ahead of your father, the late Grand Prince. Sometimes I had been the chief associate of the late Grand Prince. But later I retired to the deep forest when I found that the Majesty was strong enough to guide the herd in safety of his own. From my experience of passing several winters, I have learned a lot about the forest and its creatures, and some things about the world outside our domain. Being a grazing herd, we have to be careful about two kinds of dangers: the dangers that arise from the forest and the dangers that come from outside the forest. If all the stags in the forest stand together, we can easily face any predators in the forest and keep our herd out of danger. But in the case of the dangers that come from the two-legged animal called man, no resistance can be safe. What we can do then is simply retreat to the safety of the deep forest and use our natural predators as our safeguards against the intrusion of man." Hearing that, the Grand Prince said, "Dear sir, I am really honored by your willingness to be my chief associate. So guide and help me to create a safe haven for our herd in the meadows, hills, and valleys of the forest, just as you helped my father, the late Grand Prince." Moral: a wise advisor is far better for a king than a mighty fighter.